How do you turn everybody into a quality thinker on a macro scale across the company?
Yes.
Right? Or organization or whatever it is. So, again, this is what people miss. Everybody thinks when they work somewhere, you know, when they employ you and you work somewhere, right? You think this is what they've brought me to do, which is the first thing, obviously. They brought you to do something. I mean, if they didn't need you, they wouldn't have employed you, right? Well, that thing you're doing, what people fail to understand is how does it fit into what the company wants to do? Let me shock you. Sometimes what the company wants to do and what you are doing can be opposites. For example, right? A company might be selling pharmaceuticals, drugs, for example. And they've brought me into, you know, be fixing one of the machines that makes the drugs, right? And tomorrow I hear that, oh, the company has hiked the price of drugs so much that people that couldn't afford it are dying, right? I can think in two ways. I can say, Shebi, they brought me to come and fix the machines. Let me continue to fix my machine and collect my salary. That is one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is, this is my fixing the machines that makes these drugs, you know, that are too expensive for people to buy. Is that really what I want to do in my life? The first is what we call job description. The second is what we call systems thinking, which translates into quality thinking, right? So quality thinking is outcome focused, collective outcome. That's why I always tell people that want to do interviews with companies that, you know, when I sit down in a chair with a company trying to interview me, they think they are the ones interviewing me. And I give them that chance because, of course, they have to know whether I can do the job, right? So I let them ask their million questions. And then when they're done, I tell them, oh, wait. Now I'm interviewing you. Why should I join you? I'm not suffering where I'm coming from. The only thing you have to offer me is just money. What do you do? What I read online that you do, is that what you truly do? Do I really want to work with you? Even if that's what you truly do, what's your people culture like? Right? What's your HR like? If today I wake up and say I'm not doing something my boss is telling me to do because of a moral conviction, how do you treat me? The answers they give to those questions will make me determine, right, whether I can join in their quality thinking or you just want to let me do a particular job. So quality thinking is when you key into the global outcome of what a company does. And in the context of what I just said, in what a Scrum team does. So you have to ask your Scrum team, what are we doing here, really? Right? If our job is to make products that people use, then that means you can't just focus your thinking on just QA. If you are doing your own QA right, but somebody has told you to build the wrong thing that people will never use, it means you'll be QAing something people will never use. So if your thinking is just to do your own QA job, it means you continue to test things people don't use for years. But if your goal is to key into making sure the company actually builds things people use, you are going to start asking questions. This thing you're asking me to test, this thing is doing, can we do it another way? That is quality thinking.
That's awesome. In the finality of like your presentation, you mentioned that it takes a moment to reflect on the fact that the products that we are working on, do they all deserve to exist? Which now begs the question which kind of like made me think about like products that we would not naturally think people would use, but people end up like using for. I'm trying to think about it.
I'll ask you to give me an example of such a product so that we can talk in the context. So what kind of product do you think, and globally, do you think people did not ask for, somebody built, and people just started using it, it blew? Can you think of one such product?
Here's like an interesting like segue actually, because I was thinking about the model of Uber and Taxify in the first place, right? And even Airbnb, where you can think about it in the sense of would people allow you into like their homes as an alternative to like hotels, right? And because prior to then it hadn't like been tested except like the use of like taverns, and then people having to use like their private cars, and then we see a full circle moment where the prices of transport gets increased, and then they now introduced the concept of ride sharing, which in the ideal sense, that's probably where we were coming from, where like taxis were already ride sharing anyway.
Exactly.
So think about like the process and the flow of this. Like do we need to always take a step back? And sometimes like let's see, or like where the testing now comes into place, and let's see how this goes into market, rather than answering the question beforehand.
So this is the way I answer that question. Remember something else I said in there. I said a product is not what you give to customers. It's not the true product. Is not that service you give. It is not the Uber. It is not the Airbnb. It is not the ride sharing. The true product you are giving to customers is how you make them feel. See, once you understand that concept, you understand a lot of things. Let's pick Uber, for example, right? Before Uber, I had two options. I could either jump on a motorway with, a model of three, not seeing one, carrying one at the back. The one that guy is probably drooling on my white shirt. I'm sweating, no AC in the motorway and everything, right? Or I could call a taxi cab where I pay a large amount for anyone else not to join me. I'll just be in that taxi. But in that taxi, it may or may not have AC, right? Its seats may be rickety. There may be bed bugs on the seat, right? But because those are the only options available, I had to use it. Now, somebody sat down and thought and said, how can I feel more comfortable? How? Yes, would everybody be able to afford it? Maybe not. But if you can't afford, because even people that could afford more than that, they were limited to that at the time because there was nothing else. So if I can afford it, how can I feel that word again? More comfortable. And someone said, you know what? I will pay for a nice looking rice. Just take me anywhere and I'll pay anything.
So feeling.
Plus, when I see you in your taxi cab, right, with the windows wind down, you are mopping your face, and then I'm passing you. I'm in a Toyota Corolla with AC, all windows rolled up, feeling cool at the back, probably just using my laptop. I say, hey, how far? It's hot in here, right? There's an ego thing. So every product at the end of the day, think about it. Any product, even the Airbnb, right? In a hotel, you don't know how many people have done something on the bed, want to sleep on. You don't know how many people have sat in that seat. You don't know whether they are bed bugs. But in an Airbnb, people live there. They have to keep it clean. Before you can even register an Airbnb, it has to pass certain standards, right? People will pay more for a place that is actually domestically taken care of than just you hire mass housemates. You just do whatever, shoddy cleaning it. Think about it. The iPhone, like I said in there, the thing is the ego. See, if you are using S26 today, which is the most recent Samsung phone, and I'm using iPhone 11 today, a girl will talk more to me than you.
I give him the ball. Fair.
Now, see, all we know just in the flash is our cameras. They will, because they will feel I have better, worth. So the thing about it is, the best way to pretest whether something will succeed or not, ask them, how does it make people feel? Does it deserve to exist? Even if exists? What is the experience it gives people? And that is the best question. Once you make people feel good about themselves, any product will sell.